Today, it's the pages turning in my teacher's hands. Or the weight of a bedtime story. A story so sweet, I dream of words that fly. A story so cool that I get lost and come back. A goddess, a doctor, a dragon, a pilot, maybe even all four. The pages pull me into their worlds. The stories invite me like open arms. Like love. I am standing on all the stories I've ever read. I am growing into someone new.
Because I read, I can explore new places. When you read nonfiction and fiction, it can tell you about places that you would never be able, well, you might not be able to visit in real life.
You can imagine better. You can just live a good life because you can read.
I really like to write a lot. So when I read, it really helps me write. It gives me a lot of inspiration for what I can write about.
If I can read, I can do anything. Invent flying cars. I could be flying through the sky and just like, yay!
Because I'm a reader, I can code and I can also do math problems more efficiently.
Because I read, I can empathize. Because when you read a book, it gives you a different viewpoint on the world, and it widens your imagination, and that allows you to imagine what other people are going through and then use that to help them and be nicer to them.
Because I read, I can believe, meaning if I read like fiction or realistic fiction, things that aren't real, like dragons or magic and just like adventures, you can really think about that stuff, and as you're reading it, it's like you're there and you can just totally see it happening in real life, even though it probably never could.
Because I read, I can play guitar and I can write music. I played guitar and opened up for the whole school. I'm waking up to ash and dust. I wipe my brow and I sweat my rust. I'm breathing in the chemicals. Whoa.
Hi, I'm Pam Allen, and I'm the Global Ambassador for Scholastic's Read Every Day, Lead a Better Life Global Literacy Campaign. I'm also the founder and executive director of Lit World, a worldwide literacy initiative promoting reading and writing opportunities for all the world's children. I'm speaking to you as a parent and as an educator, and I'm asking you to join our call to action for Read Every Day, Lead a Better Life. The best thing that we can do for our children is to both model the act of reading together, to read aloud together, to read with our children, to bring books into the home, and also to be role models for our children, to love, to fall in love with that book, to sit beside our children, to make it clear to our children that we do value the time that it takes to read together, and we do value the time that we create together by becoming a family of readers. And that is such a great gift that we can give to our children. It's such a great and lasting gift. The most sustainable gift of all is the gift of literacy, is the gift that we give our children when we give them access to books, and we give them access every evening, every morning, those cozy weekend days, to read together and to fall in love with the power of reading.
I like to read endlessly. Like I don't like to stop.
My mom came in the room one day and she was like, "Oh, you don't read?" I was like, "Yeah, there's this teacher, Ms. Dickerson," and she was like, "Oh, the teacher that you didn't like a couple weeks ago?" And I was like, "Yeah, she gave me this book and I actually love the book."
I was like, I hate reading, this is stupid. Later I just discovered that that book just wasn't for me and that there were books out there that are for me.
If you just read because you have to read, it's no fun.
When I read for fun, there's no pressure. I could read a page tomorrow and 30 the next.
I don't know why people don't like reading if they can get the things that they want, they're interested in and everything.
In education, it's like a powerful thing to have.
I want to try to challenge myself and learn new words and bigger words. I really like the word gigantic for some reason.
If you don't like reading, you're missing out all the fun.
I read whenever I can. I read in the car. I'm not supposed to because supposedly it affects your eyes. But I eat a lot of carrots, so that's my justification.
My friends call it reading mode, so they won't talk to me because they know I'd be distracted, and they'd have to be like, "Lydia, stop."
Every book I read, I like more than the last one.
When you read something, like you feel the emotion. It's like, oh.
Reading makes me happy because I can learn more about stuff and think about maybe if I want to do that or not.
It has different aspects of life, while it has also unreal things, unreality.
They're not exactly talking to me, but I'm like there still.
When I read a book and the person is able to like conquer all the hindrances and things that's happening, I feel I can also do it.
It helps me make the right choice.
I've had friends who, after they started reading, like they actually realized, like, hey, like the street ain't for me.
When people expect things from you, they don't expect nothing else. People never expected me to pick up a book and read, and I actually did it. I knew I could do college after I started reading.
I just think it's cool.
People call me a lot of things: actor, director, producer, author, the Fonz, and they're all true. But I'm also a reader, and that's probably my most important role of all. The days I spend with a great book are my happiest. And because I love books so much, I try to read every day. Sometimes they're funny books, sometimes they're mysterious or suspenseful books. But sometimes they're about fantastic places I'll never get to visit, or periods of time that I'll never witness. No matter what frame of mind I'm in, I know there's a book that will fit me. And the same goes for you too. Whether you're a boy or a girl, a kid or adult, an athlete or an artist, a drama student or a math club member, whatever role you're playing today, there is a book for you. If you haven't found it yet, you keep trying, because it's out there.
Good afternoon, dear parents, and welcome to the Scholastic Prime Reading Orientation webinar. I am Ms. Sandra Santiago, the Primary English Supervisor. We will begin with a prayer to be led by Ms. Marie Lian Crizel Salvan, the pre-kindergarten, kindergarten, and grade 1 supervisor.
Let us all put ourselves in the most holy presence of God. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. O most loving God, we praise you, we glorify you, we honor you. Lord, be with us, parents, teachers, and administrators, as we continue to collaborate with one another and do what is best for the children you have entrusted to our care. For this intention, let us pray one Hail Mary. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with you. Blessed are you among women, and blessed is the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Our Lady of the Immaculate Conception, pray for us. To Jesus, through Mary, we give thanks. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you, Teacher Lizelle. Again, good afternoon, dear parents, and thank you for joining us today. Today's orientation webinar aims to familiarize you with the Scholastic Prime Reading Program and how it can help your daughters improve their reading comprehension. In this orientation webinar, you will also learn how to use the Lexile scores of your daughters to scaffold their reading development. If you have questions, please type them in the Q&A chat box. We will answer them at the end of the talk. Our speaker for today is a graduate from the University of Santo Tomas with a degree and bachelor in secondary education, major in English. She taught English and speech at Siena College, Quezon City, and was an English teacher and reading clinician at Word Lab School. Teacher G, as her colleagues call her, was a Philippine Association for Teacher Education Best Student Research Awardee in 2016. This same research on a review of language assessment foci of selected Philippine English language textbooks was internationally published at the Kedi Journal of Education Policy. Currently, she is one of Scholastic's program consultants based in Metro Manila. She's a literacy advocate who believes in the power and impact reading can bring in children's lives. Dear parents, let us all welcome our speaker, Ms. Mary Nol Giliberte, or Teacher G.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, teachers, parents, everyone. I would like to start the seminar and orientation with a big thank you for the time that you are spending with us now. It's a weekday and yet still you gave your time to be able to understand better what the program is all about. I would also like to thank the teachers of Immaculate Conception Academy, Miss Santiago and Miss Salvan, for giving me the opportunity to communicate and connect with you further. Right? So without further ado, I would like to share my screen and start the seminar. Welcome to the school year 2020-2021, and we are all learning from home. Your children are learning from home, and I understand that it's a tough time for everyone. However, still we want to make sure that you feel the presence of the school, right? And also the availability of reading resources that you can use with your children at home. Right? So this is our parent orientation and literacy seminar, The Joy and Power of Reading. This is our Scholastic Research and the 2017 Kids and Family Reading Report. To continue to drive conversations about kids reading and the joy and power of reading, we are pleased to inform you and share with you the findings from Scholastic Researches and Kids and Family Reading Report 6th edition. These researches provide both reasons to celebrate as well as a strong motivation to continue working to ensure that all children are able to read books and they love reading and improve their reading comprehension. Open a World of Possible has been Scholastic's theme for almost 3 years already. Us in Scholastic, we believe that reading opens a lot of opportunities for children. Mainly because reading makes a person smart. And the more that we read, the better thinkers we become. When we exercise our bodies, we actually build it and make it better. And that's the same thing with reading. When we read, we exercise our brain and therefore we make it better. Additionally, reading shapes lives and it even saves lives. Let's try to consider the stories of greatest leaders across time, culture, and even place. Right? All these leaders, when there are descriptions or biographies about them, reading is frequently one of the things or an essential force that made them successful. So our children, when we ask them to read in school, when we ask them to read at home, try to notice that across all subject areas, your children are required to do extensive reading. And when they are used to doing reading, they build their study skills. And when they build their study skills, they become better performers in school. Right? So it's like a chain reaction already. Let's try to consider these different facts about reading. First is that children between the ages of 10 and 16 who read for pleasure make more progress in vocabulary and spelling and even in math than those who rarely read. We might also notice that some children who behave well in school actually are the readers that we have. Omnivorous reading in childhood and adolescence correlates positively with ultimate adult success. Because even us now, as adults, we still do lots of reading. Teens now, avid teen readers engage in deep intellectual work and psychological exploration through the books that they choose to read themselves. Maybe you have daughters or sons who are already teenagers, and we try to notice that these young children, when they choose books, they often relate to the characters, the setting, or maybe the events that happen in the story. Right? So these are what they choose to read. Right? So I'm showing you now one of the results of the survey that we have. Right? So this time, both parents and children age 6 to 17, they were asked a question. Right? So in your opinion, for the parents rather. In your opinion, of the following in the list, which three skills are the most important for your child to have? Right? So this is the result of the survey for our parents. Kids, on the other hand, they were asked a similar question. Okay, so the question was, which three skills are the most important for you to have? And this is the result for our kids. Right? So see that both parents and kids agree that strong reading skills is very important for them to have. Our CEO, Mr. Richard Robinson, said that finding the right book and the right time can light an emotional spark within children that motivates them to read more, understand more, and read joyfully. When that happens, the world opens and everything becomes possible. Maybe we have heard some kids or children tell us that they hate reading or they don't want to read. Actually, us in Scholastic, we don't believe in that kind of reasoning. Why? Because everyone has a specific choice, right? So it also goes with the books that we choose to read about. So if they don't like to read, maybe they just haven't found the right book yet. And our role as parents, as teachers, as responsible adults, is to make sure that we lead them in the reading journey. Right? So how do we do that? We expose children to books. We expose ourselves to books. And we read too, and with our children in school and even at home. Let's talk about the joy and power that read aloud can do. So this is a little bit of a reflection po, dear parents. When was the last time that you read aloud a book to your daughter or to your children at home? Can you still recall? Right? Because you know what, when children are read aloud to, they learn different kinds of skills. We build the skills with them. Vocabulary, comprehension strategies, story schema, and even concept development. Additionally, they become good listeners when we read to them. And you know what? They also become good thinkers and conversationalists. In school, back in the normal days, a teacher would just pick up a book and read aloud to the class. Right? So imagine when the teacher reads aloud a book to her class, she asks different kinds of questions. She asks opinions. She lets the students participate, right? So when they give comments, when they extend their ideas, when they evaluate a point of view of the author and even their classmates' point of view, they respond to questions and all. Okay, so when this happens, all of these things happen simply when we read aloud to them, right? So they go beyond the I like the book or I don't like the book kind of comment, right? So they participate now in conversations. Okay? They critique their classmates' answers or the event in the story. They claim their thoughts, and that is a beautiful thing to happen. Right? So let's read aloud with our children at home. Right? Maybe because of our busy schedules, sometimes we don't have that much time. So let me show you a result of a survey. Right? Parents of children age 0 to 5 were asked, when you think about the benefits of reading books for fun, or this is simply pleasure reading, which of the following are the top benefits you most want your child to get from reading books? So when we ask our children to read books for fun, what do we want to happen? Okay. The result of the survey says that, firstly, or 69% says that developing vocabulary and language skills is what I want for my child to have when they read for fun. 57%, we have a tie here, would be using the imagination and learning from inspiring characters. Right? And the third in our list would be being successful in school. So simply just by reading for pleasure, right, the child grows her vocabulary, language skills, imagination, success in school. Right? These are the key findings that we had in our research. Okay, I would like you to read it quietly on your own and try to identify what the findings tell us. Right? Okay, so the findings simply tell us that we have to be involved or be part of our children or our child's reading journey, just like anything that happens in their lives. Okay, we want to be part of them, right? Okay. And it's important that we make time for reading too. Right? Children now, age 6 to 17 years old, they were asked, which of these, if any, are reasons you like being read aloud to at home? Right? So, when did we last read aloud to our child at home? And 69% of these children said that it was a special time with you. And that's mainly one of the biggest reasons why they want to read with you. So how do we read aloud with our children at home? Okay? Don't pressure them when you do reading aloud or reading together po, because they find it as a special moment. Okay? So let's not liken reading with our children to work. Okay? Now this time, okay, if a while ago I was talking about reading with your children and reading to your children, let's talk about the joy and power of independent reading. So for sure that your daughters will be reading on their own. So what happens when they read on their own? Okay, so independent reading, both at school and at home, builds successful readers, right? So frequent reading leads them to becoming proficient readers, which eventually helps a child thrive personally and academically, right? Another findings, children who read for pleasure are likely to do significantly better in school than their peers who rarely read. But we also have to take note that reading is not a competition, all right? Pleasure reading is linked to increased cognitive progress over time. Children read more, understand more, and are more likely to continue reading when they have the opportunity to choose what they want to read about. Right? So when was the last time po that you did book shopping with your child? Right? So did we ask them to choose the books or did we choose the books for them, or was it uh, was it both? Did you recommend a book and your child liked it? Okay, so choice is very important when children reads books, right? So this time in our survey, we asked, which books would you most likely finish reading? Okay, so the response was that 86% in total said that I'm more likely to finish reading a book that I have picked out myself. Right? And also, they said that my favorite books are the ones that I have picked out myself. Right? It's like when we eat at buffets, when we choose the food that we want to eat, most likely we'll finish eating that type of meal or food. Right? Okay, so now I'm showing you another result of a survey. Okay, this time, we asked children what books or series they consider as their favorite, and this was the result of that survey. Right? So for 6 to 8-year-old children, they consider The Diary of a Wimpy Kid as one of their favorites. For 9 to 11 years old children, they consider Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Harry Potter, Goosebumps. We're also seeing Percy Jackson as one of their favorite books. We also have here some non-fiction book, which is I Survived. Right? But what do kids really want in the books that they read? So when reading for fun, kids age 6 to 17 say that 86% first, they said that their favorite books are the ones they picked out themselves. 62% said that they want books that make them laugh, or these are the humor books that we have. And interestingly, 55% said that they love books that teach them something new. Okay, now these are 5 things kids and parents want in children's books. Okay, firstly, as we mentioned a while ago, okay, they will consider the books that they have chosen themselves. Second would be books that have good stories and laughter. And third, another interesting thing would be kids and parents want characters who are smart, brave, or strong, or those who face a challenge and overcome it. Right? Fourth would be the diversity in children's books. Okay, so now we're going beyond the books that we really know about. Okay? We're going beyond culture already. So people and experiences different from what we have. Okay? Those books with various cultures, customs, or religions. Okay? And the fifth one, okay, parents recommend that every child should read these top 5 books or series. So we have Harry Potter, Dr. Seuss, Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Magic Tree House, and The Chronicles of Narnia. And you know what? They have reasons why they choose these top 5 books. For Harry Potter, the book focuses on qualities such as friendship, loyalty, and good versus evil. The series grows with the child. It has contemporary literature and it's very imaginative. So that's for Harry Potter. For the other titles that we have, these are the reasons why every child should read these books according to the parents. Okay, so how do we further encourage our children to read now that we're all at home and we can't really leave the house? Okay. Actually, in all honesty po,
econs are not really difficult to encourage to read because they are really already readers. They love reading. And I've noticed that during my visits in the school last year. How do we make it visible now? How do we make the books visible now that we are at home? Okay, so make sure that the books are everywhere. If you have a library at home or a study room, make sure that there are books present there. And I'm not just talking about textbooks. I'm talking about story books that we have. Magazines can be in the kitchen or cookbooks, or there should be some newspaper or magazines as well in the living room, and storybooks in the bedroom. Another would be to spare time for leisure reading. Okay, so let's allot a schedule or a time every day, maybe at least 20 or 30 minutes a day for reading. And when it's reading time, let's make sure that we are reading too. Okay, so what I mean with that would be to make sure that electronic gadgets are off, and while our children are reading or while we're reading to them, we don't actually interact with the electronic gadgets. Okay. Additionally, you can make reading books at bedtime a family ritual. What else can we do? Okay, this is very important. Let's set ourselves as examples, okay, when we read. Okay. Let your children catch you choosing books, reading books, talking about books. Let's show our personal passion for reading. This is another tip that I'm giving to you. You can buy or borrow books together with your child. So I know we can't really visit book sales or bookstores now, but there are various online book sales that we have. Right? Provide a bibliography for the things that you talked about. Let your children write about what they read. Additionally, let's read for leisure and show that reading is something that is a burden. Okay? Let's show to them rather that reading is something fun and relaxing. Right? Eventually, we'll all be going out, okay, when it's all safe. Let's make sure that we continue the habit by bringing a book wherever you go. So now, I'm giving now the orientation about the program that we have at Immaculate Conception Academy. So how does Scholastic's reading program support ICA? For kinder to grade 2, we have the Prime English program. This is how the Prime English program is composed. It has the circle of reading success. First would be measure. Second would be engage. Third is instruct. And the fourth is monitoring. Okay, so note that the circle has 3 pillars: that of program monitoring or coaching, professional development, and of course, parent education. Let's go through these parts one by one. Let's start off with measure. When we measure a person's reading ability, we use what we call the Lexile framework. Right? So let me show you how we do the measurement. Right? So at this point, I'll be showing you a video. Okay.
Okay, so this is how the Lexile framework for reading works.
The Lexile framework for reading is a way to connect children with books and other materials that will help them grow as readers. Consider this. A father takes his son Billy to buy a new pair of basketball sneakers. The salesperson asks, "How old is your son?" The father answers, "He's 12. So the salesperson points to a shelf and says, "Here are our age 12 basketball sneakers." Not likely, right? We don't buy shoes based on our age, we buy them based on the size of our feet. Like shoes, books aren't one-size-fits-all ages. Yet for years we've matched readers with reading materials based on age or grade level. We need a better way to connect children with materials that will help them grow as readers. That's where the Lexile framework for reading can help. When shoe shopping, the scale used to measure Billy's foot tells you his shoe size, not his age. In the same way, the Lexile framework determines the child's reading ability, not his grade level. Take Daniel here. He's 9 years old and in 4th grade. Daniel likes science fiction, so he's given books that are considered 4th grade science fiction to read. But what if Daniel's reading ability is much higher than the average 4th grader? Or what if he's not quite reading on a 4th grade level? Like Billy's age 12 basketball sneakers, the text simply doesn't fit the child. The Lexile framework for reading is an educational tool that connects readers with reading materials using a common measure called a Lexile. It was developed after 20 years of research by US-based educational measurement company Metametrics. The value of a Lexile measure has been proven time and time again and is now recognized as the most accurate way to match readers with text. What makes the Lexile framework unique and what has led to its widespread adoption is that it measures both reading ability and text difficulty on the same scale. The result is 2 Lexile measures, one for the reader and one for the text. A Lexile reader measure describes a child's reading ability. A Lexile text measure describes the difficulty of a particular text. Both Lexile measures are represented by a number followed by the letter L. The measures sit on the Lexile scale, which ranges from below 200 Lexile for beginning readers in text to above 1700 Lexile for advanced readers in text. When used together, Lexile reader measures and Lexile text measures help you to connect children with books and other materials that meet and challenge their unique reading abilities. Here's how the process works. Susie takes one of the many reading tests that is linked with the Lexile framework. When she receives her student report, her reading score also is reported as a Lexile measure. As for the difficulty of a text, this is calculated using a proprietary Lexile equation. The equation uses sentence length and word frequency to determine the Lexile measure of the text, whether it be a book, a magazine article, or a single passage. When you know Susie's Lexile measure, you can use it to connect her with books in her Lexile range, about 50 Lexile above and 100 Lexile below her Lexile measure. One way is to search the Lexile book database for titles within her Lexile range. Susie also has told us what topics she likes to read about, so we can enter that information too. Within seconds, Susie has a list of suggested books that is completely personalized to her reading ability and interests. She then can look for those books at her local library or bookstore. All in all, it's a quick and easy process with an unbelievably powerful outcome. But Lexile measures provide more than a way to pick the right book for a child to read. They are powerful tools for targeting instruction and improving achievement across all grade levels and subjects. While Lexile measures are not intended to replace the valuable role of teachers and librarians, the measures do support them in connecting students with appropriate reading materials. For example, a science teacher can see how the Lexile measure of a textbook compares with the Lexile measure of each student in the class. Students above or below the Lexile measure of the textbook can be connected with more ability-appropriate content. Tens of millions of books, articles, and websites have Lexile measures, and this number increases every day. Lexile measures also provide parents with a powerful tool for connecting children with reading materials at home. Unlike other test results that might simply get posted on the refrigerator or cause parents to have sleepless nights, Lexile measures offer a way to take action. During the summer, after school, or on weekends, families can visit the library or bookstore and use Lexile measures to select reading materials that will strengthen the child's literacy skills. And because Lexile measures track progress from year to year, families can monitor growth in reading ability, similar to marking the child's height on a wall with a pencil. Research has proven that reading is critical to every child's life chances. A disadvantaged reader is a disadvantaged learner. By reading material at their Lexile level, children strengthen important literacy skills and develop a lifelong love of reading.
All right. So now let me go back to my PowerPoint. Okay. So let me explain to you how the Lexile framework actually works. Say, for example, that your child is in the first grade. Okay, so we have here two columns, that of the grade level and the Lexile or ideal Lexile level for that grade. So if you have a first grader, the ideal Lexile of a first grader should be about 100 to 400 Lexiles. Sometimes it so happens that your first grader has a Lexile, say, that of a fourth grader. So that's already 600 to 900 Lexile. What does this mean? Meaning, if we give that first grader books that are for fourth grade level, it will be easy or just right for her. Sometimes, there are also instances wherein a first grader has a beginning reader Lexile. So what will that tell us? Okay. Actually, first graders, kindergartners, first graders, and second graders are all beginning readers. Okay, so these grade levels are levels wherein your children, your daughters, are just learning how to read. When they reach third grade, that's when they are already reading to learn. Okay, so later on when your daughters take the Lit Pro test and you find that their Lexile is BR or beginning reader followed by a number, that's okay. Because technically po, they are really just beginning readers. Right? So we have our children in the learning to read development stage. Okay, so after they take the Lit Pro test, they will have a score. Some of them will have 200 or 150 Lexiles. Others might have a score that has BR, okay, and then a number followed by the letter L. So again, BR means beginning reader. Okay, so let's try to look at the Lexile framework as a thermometer. Okay, so when we look at 0, there are numbers below 0. Okay, so the greater the number, the farther it is from 0. Right? So what's the purpose why we need to have numbers or scores after the 0 Lexile? It's because we want Okay, we want to make sure that you'll also see the growth in your child's lexile, not just BR code. Okay? So eventually, when we find out the lexile of our daughters, do not be pressured or don't pressure them po that, oh, you have a BR score and hey, it's below zero already or it's a negative score already. Actually, it's very normal. Right? So I already showed you the Lexile framework. Now let me show you how the test will look like. Okay, so when your daughters take the Lit Pro test, they will need to read a passage. Right? So there's a passage and they need to complete a sentence about that passage by choosing A, B, C, or D. Right? So when they have made the choice, they simply click or press on the letter or the word, and the word will be transferred on the blank. So when they are very sure already of their answer or they don't want to change anymore, they can simply click on the next button. Okay, so when they click next, they can't go back anymore to the previous item. Why? Because this test has the item adaptiveness feature. What does item adaptiveness mean? Okay, so it means that their answer to a certain question will be dependent on the next question or the next passage. Right? So if they answer correctly, then the next passage po will be a little bit difficult. If they answer incorrectly, then the next passage will be a little bit easier. Okay, so LitPro detects a pattern in how the students answer the test until at the end of the test, they end up with what we call the Lexile or the reading score. Right? So when we know already what their Lexile is, then we would know which books they can read about. Alright? So before I move on to, skip, I'll continue first with engage so that you can follow through when I give the run through of how everything looks like po. Okay, so let's go to engage. Okay, so when we already know what the lexile of your daughter is, when they know what their lexile is, we can match them to the right books. Right books here means that these are books that are within their lexile range and within their reading interest. So notice that this child here has a lexile level of 800 lexiles. Okay, because books are also measured according to lexile, he will be able to know which books are within his range or near his lexile score. And so he can choose if he is interested in that book. Right? So he reads the book and take a quiz about it. Remember that choice is important when we ask our children to read. Okay, there are three kinds of books that we consider in Scholastic. Okay, we call them the holidays, just rights, and the challenges. The holidays are books that are very easy or easy first reads, or these are the books that they have been reading or they keep on reading again and again. Okay. Another is the just rights. So these now are the books that are new and they help a reader practice and gain new experiences. Okay? And finally, we have the challenges. This time, these are the titles or the books that maybe the child wants to read it independently. However, it's too difficult right now. Okay, so this is where us as parents, as teachers come in because we help them unlock words already. It's important to note that we should be in the just right kind of books for our children. Okay, so new books new experiences, and new knowledge will be learned there. And it's just right for them. It's not too easy and it's not too difficult for them. Okay, one good thing for this school year, and even in the previous school year actually, would be the accessibility of the Literacy Pro library. The Literacy Pro library has lots and lots, about thousands of fiction and non-fiction ebooks that ranges from beginning Lexile to about 1,300 plus Lexiles. So your daughters will be able to have access to these books. Take note though, parents, that not all books have an ebook counterpart. Okay? Some authors and publishers are actually sensitive in translating their books to ebooks, right? But there are still lots of choices that you'll see. Okay, so now at this point, you can screenshot this page or take a picture of it. Okay, I'm showing to you the URL for ICA. Okay, so this is the URL or the website that you need to visit when your child wants to access the Literacy Pro or when they need to take the Lit Pro test. Right, so it's a website. That would mean that we need internet connection for it to work, and you can have your child use a computer, a laptop, an iPad, or a gadget to be able to access this. Right? So we'll know that you got in the correct site if you see the name of the school. Okay, so it's ICA that we're seeing now. Right? So we need to type in the login details of your daughter. Usually, it's their very first name, one space, their last name. Some of your daughters have two first names. Okay, so if their name is Mary Francesca Young, then the username would simply be Mary space Young. Right, so we do not consider the second name, but don't worry, when they log in, the name will be complete. Right, and then we key in the password, which is 123456. All right, now I would like to give you a tutorial or show you how the Literacy Pro looks like. Okay, so let me open my browser. All right. Okay, now you're seeing the Scholastic Learning Zone. Okay, so as mentioned, we type the URL here in the address box. Okay, and it will lead you to the school's official account. Okay, so we key in the username. Don't worry, parents, the username will be given to you. The official usernames will be given po to you by the teachers. So we key in that username and then the password. Okay, so how will it look like? Let's click on login. There. Okay, now Maria Francesca is now logged in. Okay, so the first thing that you will see once she's logged in would be the My Zone page. The My Zone page has two different applications. It has the Literacy Pro and the Literacy Pro Library. Let's go through both applications. First, let's talk about Literacy Pro. So I'll click on Literacy Pro and it now led me to a new tab. Okay, so this is Maria Francesca's Literacy Pro app. Okay, we're seeing her dashboard or an overview of her reading profile. So from last school year, she had a lexile of 1,004 lexiles. Okay. These boxes, certificate level, quizzes pass, words read, and average quiz score will have numbers throughout the school year. Okay, so Francesca have not yet started reading or taking the Lit Pro test this school year. That's why the boxes are quite empty. Right? So in her dashboard, she can edit her reading interest. So every time she logs in, she can edit that and change the different interest that she wants. Okay, so she needs to choose 3 reading interests. So if your daughter would like to read about funny stories, animals and pets, caring and sharing, just simply click on that bubble. Or if they decide to change, just unclick it and then choose a different one. Finally, after doing that, click on Update My Reading List. Alright. Now, what does the reading interest do? It gives a list of books that she may want to read about. Alright, so this is the list that she has. Okay, so notice, dear parents, that books here have take the quiz button. Right? So if you have not, or if your daughter have not yet read the book, the story about Ping, then please don't ask her to take the quiz about it. Okay? Some books have an ebook counterpart. So there will be an additional box here above take the quiz, and it will say read book. Okay, so it means that it's available in the Literacy Pro library. Right? Let's look at the search tab. It's the second tab. So if you have books at home and you would like your child to take a quiz about it, you can type the title of the book here in the search box. Right? So let's try to look for a book. So see, the book that I want my child to read is Love You Forever. So just click and then it will appear. Please check though that it's the author's name, it's the correct author's name that you're seeing. Because some books po have similar titles. Right? So you can take a quiz about the book. Okay. We can toggle the different filters that we have here on this side. So let's remove that and try to look for books in the Scholastic ebook collections. So I'll just click on that box and wait for the results to appear. There. Okay. So I have here a book entitled The Solar System Everyday Book Box 1 Orange. Okay, so I can read that book first. After reading, that's when I take a quiz about the book. Okay? Now let's look through the My Results part of the page. So let's click My Results tab, and there you will see the results of the quizzes that Maria Francesca has taken. Right? For a quiz to be counted as a quiz pass, the score should be about 70%. Okay? That is 7 over 10. Some books have only about 5 or 6 items in a quiz. So still, it should be 70% po. So what happens if, for example, your daughter did not pass the quiz? Say she got 60% or 6 over 10. Then she may retake the quiz the next day. Okay, so she can actually retake the quiz for up to 3 times. So how do we make her retake the quiz? Just take note of the title of the book, right? So Finn McCool, Ireland's Giant Hero. And then go to search and then type the title inside the search box. If she has already passed the quiz, then she can't take the quiz anymore because it's already counted po. Right? So again, this is My Results tab. The results of all her quizzes, even her previous years, are reflected here. Okay? Finally, we have the most important tab. Okay, that's the last tab, our Lit Pro Test tab. It has the pencil icon. Okay, so when your daughters take the Lit Pro Test next week, this is the tab that you need to click on. For now, if you're trying to access your daughter's account, this cannot be clicked yet. Alright? Because it will be activated po on Monday at 7 o'clock in the morning. Okay, so if she clicks on the Lit Pro Test tab, then it will tell her that it's time to take the Lit Pro Test. Okay, so again, the test has about 20 to 36 questions on average. Some of them will finish maybe until 20 only. Others will finish until 30 or 36. The number of items actually do not matter. Right? So remember that the test is item adaptive. So all they would need to do is try to focus and try to read the words as much as they can. Okay? Remember that we're assessing your daughter's reading level. So as much as we would want to, let's not help them while taking the test. Okay? So a problem that could happen if we help them take the test. So again, remember that the test is item adaptive. So the next passage will now be, if we help them, the next passage will now be more difficult and more advanced. And if the computer detects the pattern that she keeps on getting correct answers, then it will become, the Lexile will become higher and higher. Okay, so until it will give a score. Okay, when she is given already the score, that's the score that she will be using for the rest of the school year. So if we actually help them while taking the test, then we are defeating the purpose of identifying the Lexile level of the child. Alright? So this is, again, the Literacy Pro app. Let's try to look at the Literacy Pro library. So we go back to the first tab. In My Zone, this is the Literacy Pro library. So we click on that app. So it will now give us another new tab. Right, so this is now the Literacy Pro library. So there's an overview again of her reading profile when she reads the books in the Literacy Pro library. Okay, you'll also see there if the teacher assigned a book for her to read, you'll see the books here. And since the Literacy Pro library home tab works like a bookshelf, you'll see here the books that she has read or is currently reading. Right? So these are the books that Francesca is currently reading. Alright? Now, what if you would like for your child to explore the other books that we have in the Lit Pro library. Simply click on the second tab, that's the Books tab. And there you will see the different books available for her to read. Okay, you can limit your search by typing some keywords here in the search bar. So for example, let's look for books about pets. Okay, so all the books will appear here. If you want to know what the lexile of the book is, simply click on the I button. It's here. So let's click that. And there you will see an overview of the book. So the lexile of this book is 700 lexile. Right? So you can start reading the book. Okay. Once your daughter has taken the Lit Pro test, this box here in the filter part po, okay, this box here will be color blue. It will be highlighted. If you would like for your daughter to read books beyond her lexile range, you can just simply unclick the box and the other books will appear. Or you may type a certain number here in the lexile level, and then all the books within that reading range or that lexile will appear here. Alright? So, what are the different features that we have in the books or the books that we have in the Literacy Pro library? Let's try to look at one of the books that we have. A buzz is part of a bee. So if she decides to read about that book, just click on the book. And then she can continue reading. For beginning readers, okay, you can use the play part of the book. This is the audio reader function of the book itself. Okay, so it's here on the bottom left. Let's try to listen to this book.
A buzz is part of a bee.
Right, so,
A wheel is part of a skate.
right, so notice that as the word is being read, it's highlighted in yellow. So this is especially very helpful for our beginning readers. Okay, so that's one feature that we have in the books in our Lit Pro library. Another feature, dear parents, would be the vocabulary or the dictionary part of our Lit Pro library. So if your daughter encounters a difficult word, she can simply click or tap on the book, okay? And then the meaning, the definition will appear. Okay, so there is a sample picture too that you're seeing. She can even listen to how the book is pronounced by playing the speaker icon here.
Wheel. A wheel is something round that turns around and helps things work or move. Bicycles, cars, and some machines have wheels. I counted 18 wheels on that big truck.
All right. So that is the dictionary function of our Lit Pro library. Okay. One last thing would be the ability for your children to send messages to their teacher. So they can send a message about that part of the story. Okay, and then the teacher can read the message and even reply to it. So let's try to type a message. Okay, so for example, she says, "Hello teacher, I like this part." Okay, just click on send and the teacher will receive the message. All right, so these are the different functions of the books that we have in our LitPro library. If you're wondering where the messages can be seen, there is an envelope here on the upper right, and you will see the responses of the the teacher rather here. Okay. Finally, we have the collections tab. Okay. In the collections tab, books will appear there if the teacher assigned a collection to your daughter. So for example, Maria Francesca was assigned a collection with the theme Healthy, Happy Life. So she can read about the different books about that collection. All right. Okay. So that is our Literacy Pro. One final thing, dear parents, another last helpful thing that you can explore in the Literacy Pro would be this one. So you go to the Literacy Pro app, you'll find there a toolkit. It's a very small button on the upper right corner. The toolkit has different tutorial videos for your daughter. So if we press on the toolkit, you'll find there the videos that she can watch. Okay, so it is, okay. It has the different frequently asked questions, okay, videos about how to take book quizzes, how to find ebooks are all here. Alright. There are also different reading resources which are actually printable. You can download them. And also there are, I think some of you are looking for some reading list. Okay. These are the different books that can be found there. There are reading lists that you can download, save, or even print. All right. So this is the beauty of our Literacy Pro. Okay. So at this point, I'm going back to my PowerPoint presentation and so that I can share further with you what we have with our program. Right? So that's Literacy Pro, the Scholastic Learning Zone. All right. At the end of the school year, your daughters can receive different awards. So we have the Star Reader Award. It's given to just one student per grade level who will read the most number of books with successful Lit Pro quizzes passed. Okay? And the books read should be within her targeted reading range. So if her reading range is BR or beginning reader, then she may go ahead and read the books that has the same Lexile or beyond. Another would be the highest Lexile score award. It's given to one student per grade level who will get the highest Lexile score during our post-test. The third award is the highest Lexile Growth Award. It's given to one student per grade level still, okay, who will get the biggest increase in their Lexile from pre-test to post-test. Okay, so the first three awards, the awards that we give to these students would be a medal and a book prize from Scholastic. The fourth award would be the 100 Lexile Growth Award. This time it's given to students who will achieve a minimum of 100 increase in their Lexile during the post-test. Okay, so the post-test will happen at the end of the school year. And finally, we have the Class Reader Award. This time, it's a class award. It's given to the class who will read the most number of books by the end of the year. Right? So these are just some small awards that hopefully will encourage your children to read more. Let's talk about the instruction part of the program. Right? For kinder to grade 2, we have what we call the interactive read alouds and the phonics instruction. So how does it look like? For the interactive read aloud, there is actually a function in the Literacy Pro library of your children wherein there are prompts or questions that will be asked while your child reads the book. Right? So you will know that it has an interactive read aloud function if you see a bubble on top of the book. For teachers, on the other hand, the support that we're giving to them is to make sure that there are downloadable lesson plans about the books that we have in the Lit Pro library. Right? So most of the books in our Lit Pro library has the interactive read aloud function. Additionally, we are providing, since we're learning rather from home, we're providing flip books of the decodable readers or the lessons that we have for your children. So the flip books can be accessed through links. So there will be a link that will be sent to your daughters and they would just simply click on the link and enter a very short code. There are also demo videos of the lessons. And these demo videos are already ready for distance learning. Okay? For the monitoring part of the program, of course, we want to make sure that we keep on improving the program that we have for ICA. So we have an improved Lexile test, more and improved book quizzes, and something new would be the phonics assessment. The phonics assessment is usually done after the lesson. Okay, the decodable readers have been implemented already. Okay. I would like to inform you as well that we supported the teachers through an online training module during the summer. Right? And of course, I will be always available for the school in case there are questions or clarifications or activities that you would like for Scholastic to implement with the school. Right? So now, since we're doing everything from home, okay, activities are mostly downloadable or online. Finally, since we think, of course, that you're part of the program, dear parents, so we want you to be involved in parent orientations like this and also literacy seminars, which is why we want to extend the program to you. Okay, so there are parent orientation videos available online. So if you have a Facebook account, you may follow Scholastic Asia Teachers and you'll find there videos about the Prime English program. So again, it's Scholastic Asia Teachers at Facebook. There will also be constant parent communication letters that will be sending you. Okay. So the step-by-step guide that I actually showed to you a while ago will be given as part Right? So before I end my talk and I entertain your queries, let me just highlight the impact that reading can do every day. A student who reads 20 minutes per day will be exposed to 1.8 million words per year and scores in 90th percentile on standardized tests. That's almost 100%. A student who reads 5 minutes per day, just 5 minutes of her time, will be exposed to 2,082 words per year and scores in 50th percentile on standardized tests. And finally, a student who reads 1 minute per day will be exposed to 8,000 words per year and scores in 10th percentile on standardized tests. Right? So reading matters. So let's encourage a culture of reading with and to our children at home. So you're never alone. If you have a good book, a good story, fiction or non-fiction, can open up the imagination for problem solving and critical thinking, or just for working through the tough spots in life. A truly good story sucks you in and opens up a whole new world. If you want to read further about the research that I showed to you a while ago, you may go ahead and visit scholastic.com/reading report. And you may please communicate with me if you have questions or further clarifications when you receive the result of your daughter's Lexile test. So this is my email address. It's mgiliberte@scholastic.asia. All right. So that's the end of my presentation. This time I'll be entertaining the questions that you have. Right, so I'm seeing some questions now that were sent to me directly. Okay, so there's a mom who asked about physical books. Right. We can, we're not actually really requiring you or pressuring your daughters to read 20 minutes or 30 minutes a day. We're just suggesting for them to read or spend time reading every day. Right? So right now, because we all want you to be safe, we would like for you to access for now the books that we have in the Literacy Pro library. So no physical books yet po. Right, I'll share the top favorite books for 6 to 8 years old children. Right, so let me go back to that part of the presentation. It's okay, parents, if the books of your children is not Scholastic published. In the Literacy Pro library, there are books there. I mean, yeah, that's right. There are books there that are not solely Scholastic publish. So Scholastic opened up their doors to different publishing companies. Also, the book quizzes that we have in the Literacy Pro are not solely Scholastic titles.
Hi, Teacher G. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hi,
teacher.
teacher. I will read to you some questions that we have that were sent to us. Okay, the first one is there a way to report that accidentally quiz the quiz that that we noticed that it was recorded and it was a zero? Do we need to wait for the next day to take the retest? How will it affect the overall score? Thank you.
Right. We don't actually have a function po wherein we'll be able to delete the quizzes that were accidentally taken. However, what I can advise po for you to do would be to let your daughter take the quiz again the next day. Don't worry, it will not really affect her overall score.
Thank you, Teacher G. For our next question, does this reset every year? Because all the books my daughter's read are no longer here on the home page. My daughter has read over 150 books and it's no longer reflected here.
Right. It resets yearly, mommy. So it resets po yearly. However, all the books that your daughter, all the quizzes that your daughter has taken are saved already. So she cannot take the quiz about it anymore if she already passed the quiz in the previous year. Okay, so why is this like that? It's because we want to encourage them to read other books. Okay, so if they passed the quiz already, means that they have comprehended the book already, and that's very good. So now they have the chance to read other books in the Literacy Pro library.
Okay. Okay, for our next question, teacher, do you have plans to develop iOS or Android app for easier navigation for children?
Right. I remember po that this was a question also last school year. We're actually looking into having it available as an application already. The difficulty that we encounter is that this app is actually, this site is specific to different schools that are partners with Scholastic. So we currently update it, which is why we cannot really put it in app first for now po. But we've raised that concern also because it looks so much better, right, when it's an application. So we're currently still working on it, making improvements po.
Okay. Next question, teacher. Why does selecting the In My Lexile range and in Scholastic ebook collections filter still show books without a corresponding ebook online? Is there a functionality problem or is it broken?
Right. Okay. Because in reality po, dear parents, this platform is also available in school. So your daughters, before, what they do is they visit the reading center in school, they choose the book there, and they read the physical book, right? So some books if they want to read it in the Lit Pro library, they read it online. Some books, they opt to choose the physical copies, which is why both are available. Okay, so again, not all books have an e-book function or has an e-book counterpart. So it's not a technical problem that we have there. It's just that we want to make sure that both physical and e-books have book quizzes in our Literacy Pro.
Okay, teacher, I'll just put these questions together very short. What is RA and AD? And what's the passing score for the quizzes again?
Again po, what is RA?
What is RA and AD?
Oh, okay. So these are good question po that you noticed that. These are Lexile codes. RA stands for read aloud and AD stands for adult directed. So some books, right, even though they have a Lexile within the range of your child, you would need to read aloud them. Okay, so if they have the RA code, okay, so it's meant to be read aloud. Some books have the AD code. So when we ask our children to read these books, okay, it's like not really a warning, but it's like telling us that there is a part in the story or in the book which is more likely directed to for adults. Right? So if you ask your child to read that book, then we will be explaining some parts of the story. If you want to know further po the different Lexile codes, you can visit lexile.com. So again, it's lexile.com, and there you will see the different codes and understand what they are all about.
Okay, thank you, teacher. Next question. Can kindergarten early readers take the Lexile? And when will this program start?
Right. Yes, our kindergartners are scheduled to take the test, the Lexile test, next week. Right, so any time and day next week, that whole week, they can take the test po. So from September 14 to 18, that is their schedule.
Okay. Next question, teacher. How can we improve the Lexile score of our daughters?
Right. One way to improve the Lexile score of your daughters is to, of course, follow the targeted reading range that is recommended for her. Okay, so read books within, remember the 3 kinds of books, the just right books. Okay, so we let our daughters read those books. Okay, these are the books in the recommended reading list that we have in the Literacy Pro or in the Literacy Pro library. So we keep on asking them to read these books because they have words or new words for your daughter. Right? And even the sentence structure of the books are improving when you let them read it. And remember also to make them take the quiz about the books that they have read to check the comprehension. So that's one way of helping your daughter improve their Lexile.
Thanks, teacher. I'll just go back to the question a while ago. What is the passing score for the quizzes?
Right, the passing score for the quizzes po is 70%. So if the quiz has 10 items, then it's 7 over 10.
Is there a way to set up an account for a sibling who's not in ICA?
The partnership po is with Ika. So it's a package. If we're hoping to also partners, of course, with to have to be partners rather with other schools so that they will also have the same program. But don't worry because we're sure that it's already in the works. If we're talking about a neighbor school of ICA, then we have communicated with them already. And hopefully they will allow us be partners with them. So they have the same.
Okay. Thank you, teacher. Next question. How often do you expand or add collection to the ebook library? And do
Right.
you have a store online for physical books?
Yes. Monthly, we upload books in the Literacy Pro library. So just recently, we started adding about 150 books in our Lit Pro library. And we regularly update it, maybe about 50 to 100 books we upload in the Lit Pro library because we understand that everyone is at home and trying to access and read lots of books already. For the online bookstore that we have, you can, I'm not very sure about the name of the book sale, but I'm sure that it's there in the Facebook page of Scholastic Asia. So they posted it there, and you'll also be able to easily access the books that are on sale there.
Right. Teacher, what about if the Lexile score of the child is high and the book suggested by the system is not appropriate or is too long? Will this affect her performance or can she choose other books?
Right. You can always allow your child to choose other books. Remember, parents, that the Literacy Pro, the Lexile that is in Literacy Pro, should not limit your daughter. Okay, so a good thing would be to follow the recommended books there. However, you can always go beyond, okay, beyond what is assigned there or beyond the Lexile of your daughter. Like, for example, when we visit libraries, when we go to libraries, we look at books in the shelf and just choose any book that we want to read about because we find it interesting. So it's not really the books that are recommended there in one shelf, or new books that we have now in our collection. We're not really required to do that. So you always let your child have the freedom to choose what she likes to read about.
Okay, teacher, follow up on the RA or read aloud. Does this mean that parents need to read aloud the entire book to the kids?
Not necessary naman po. It's just that it would be better that the book is read aloud. Oh, remember also, dear parents, that there is an audio reader function of the book. Most likely, the reason why this is supposed to be a read aloud is because there might be some difficult words to pronounce or thinking prompts in parts of the story, which is why it's recommended to be read aloud.
Next question, teacher. Are we supposed to already measure the Lexile score of our kids in kindergarten?
Right. That's a good question. Actually, we don't really need to measure the reading level of beginning readers. The reason why we're actually doing this is for us to know how much they will improve their reading level as they go through the next test. So when they take the post test, that's where we'll know how much they have improved their reading level.
Okay. Teacher, I'll go for the last question. And the other questions that you won't be able to answer, we'll just send it to the parents. We'll answer it through their teachers. Okay. So, is there a way to combine the quizzes that my daughter took even from last school year and just to organize it, maybe alphabetical or separate from what she took last school year and this school year?
Right. There is a way, ma'am, for us to to know, right? For I'm looking at the sample account that we have. I'll show it to you. There is a way for us to identify the books or the quizzes that she has taken from the previous school year. However, it will not be reflected anymore. Okay, so let me show you. So for Maria Francesca, so we just go to the My Results tab. And there you will see the date that she took the quiz. So you can double click, right, the date, and there you will see the quizzes, all the quizzes that she took in the previous years. Alphabetical, you can click on title and it will be arranged too. There. So everything is there already. So it is saved in her profile. And so what's nice about this is that you will see, or she will be able to see how much books she has read or the books that she have finished reading and taken a quiz about even in the past school year. So it's in my results tab po.
Okay, Teacher G. Okay, so the other questions, we will just collate them and then maybe we can send it to the parents' email. Yes, later on. All right. So thank you, Teacher G, for orienting us today. And I hope, dear parents, that we were able to give you enough information on the Scholastic Prime Reading Program. Let us continue to work together to develop love for reading in our young econs. Please do not forget to answer the evaluation form shared with you in the chat box. Yeah, we will be sharing it to you in a while. So, um, and we'll end here. Thank you for attending this orientation webinar, dear parents, and may God bless us all.
What will this day bring? What stories will I reach for? What magic will I touch? Today, it's the pages turning in my teacher's hands. Or the weight of a bedtime story. A story so sweet, I dream of words that fly. A story so cool that I get lost and come back. A goddess, a doctor, a dragon, a pilot, maybe even all four. The pages pull me into their worlds. The stories invite me like open arms. Like love. I am standing on all the stories I've ever read. I am growing into someone new.